Please rise and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, good afternoon, everybody. I'm assuming, Vicki, no one wishing to address the board? Okay, we'll move on to the approval of the minutes of our meeting on August 8th, 2022. Can I get a motion and a second, please?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That motion passes. Can I get a motion and a second to approve the agenda, please?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That passes. And we had no new conflicts of interest. So we move on to the approval of the consent agenda. Can I get a motion and a second, please?
So moved. Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. And that passes. And we move on to the reports of the president. And our first one is the fall enrollment report. Megan.
President Sarenbetz and members of the board. My name is Megan Fisher. I'm the Vice President for Enrollment Management at Southeast Technical College, and it's my privilege today to share with you our enrollment report for fall 2022. So without further ado, I'll get right to it. We're happy this year to report some up enrollment. You can see that our total head count were above last year by 70 students, or 3%. And on Census Day, which was Friday, I should have pointed out, we were up 974 credits, so up 4% in credits. And giving a little breakdown of our percentage of fall enrollment by student type, you can see that the total degree seeking number is 2,109, so 86% of our students there are seeking a degree. And then you can see below that bottom yellow line, program prep, we have one program at Southeast Tech that we count, and that's our diagnostic medical sonography program. So we have 21 students in that this year. Dual credit and concurrent, we were down just a tidge this year, but not too bad considering everything. And we made up for that in some other programs that I'm gonna highlight in this next slide. Well, 2 slides from now. First, we'll show you the breakdown of part-time and full-time enrollment. We've talked about this in the past, the last couple years, how we were seeing a trend of more part-time. But I was glad to see where we're at this year, and you can see that 47% of the students enrolled for fall 2022 are part-time. 53 are full-time, obviously, and then 30% of the credits for fall are taken by part-time students. So not bad considering the demographics of who we are, and we're able to serve and provide opportunities for all types of students. All right, so looking at our dual credit concurrent, you know about the Avera Academy and Classrooms to Career, so I'm not gonna go into details about those. But you can see the breakdown of where we're at this fall of 2022 compared to fall of 2021. Again, we're just a little bit lower than last year. It was nice to see we had an uptick in our Teach Well Solutions students. We work closely with Strive Teach Well program, and that's a program for students with disabilities who are moving on from high school, and it helps them with supports as they're making the transition to college. And we have had good success with that program, and we actually have a couple students who've graduated and are now full-time students at Southeast Tech. All right, so some of the highlights for this fall. We had 3 great new program starts, which we're always really excited about. 2 in our professional studies program, so risk and investment management. That came out of discussion from one of our sector breakfasts. Maybe some of you were at it with the finance and insurance members in the community, and we're happy to say we have 5 students in that program this fall. HR management, we brought back that program in an associate's degree, and we have 10 students. And then working with the Community Health Worker Collaborative of South Dakota, which is a federally funded program, we were able to bring in 18 students. So great opportunities for those students. And then Upskill, if you recall, that was a program, or is a program, funded through the Department of Labor and Regulation in South Dakota that came about because of the pandemic. And it's continuing. And so we have 9 students. 2 years ago, I should say, in 20, we had quite a few upskill students, and a lot of them were in our medical coding program. And then last year, unfortunately, that program didn't qualify. And so we went down in our numbers, but this year we're back up, and part of that is the partnership with the Department of Corrections. We have one welding cohort with 15 students. So that's categorized as upskill. And then the SNAP Employment and Training Program, we brought in 27 students, and that is funded through the Department of Social Services. So students who are SNAP eligible qualify for receiving tuition assistance benefits. They have a pool of money for that, so we worked closely with that agency. Some of those students were already students planning to come to Southeast Tech, but we were helped to identify them and hopefully encourage and provide that tuition assistance. And of course, Build Dakota. We talk a lot about Build Dakota, but it really has been a blessing to the technical college system in South Dakota, and now we're on our 8th cohort already. So this year we had 378 applications for the scholarship. We awarded, after the dust settled from summer in the first 2 weeks of school, 136 scholarships were awarded. 116 of those students are from South Dakota, and then we imported 20 students from out of state to receive those scholarships. In this cohort 8, we had 105 sponsored scholars. And you can, I'm not gonna list all the people that, some of them are consistent companies who sponsor students, and some are new, small companies that are sponsoring students from their hometown, which is always fun to see. Wagner is there, for example, with the Yankton Sioux tribe and their community hospital. So those aren't always annual, but they're fun to get those small town connections. And then this cohort 8 also represents the highest number of students that we've ever been able to sponsor. And finally, admissions. We're recruiting for next fall already. That started this summer. And I just want to give a big shout out to our admissions team led by Mandy Fry. She is our director of admissions. She and her team have the expertise, dedication, work ethic. They're just go, go, go nonstop all year to organize the recruitment funnel. And I put that there because I just want to show the number of awareness that we have in terms of our personal contacts that our reps and admissions staff have every year, as well as the total transactional messages. Of course, our marketing comes into play here. We have our communication funnel that we text. If you have any young people in your life, you know they don't answer the phone. So we text a lot out of our admissions office. And then all of the visits. And it's kind of fun to see that after the last 2 years, more things are back in person. And we've seen that, and even though online we were able to show high numbers with our virtual events, it's just not the same as having that direct face-to-face interaction, whether that's an in-person campus visit, a group tour, like having all the Sioux Falls School District sophomores out on our campus in the spring. And so they just do a great job all year round coordinating. I mean, it's a campus-wide effort, so but they take the lead in that. So I just wanted to give them a shout out. And that's the enrollment report for fall 2022. Any questions?
Any questions?
No questions, but exciting results to see the growth and, as you mentioned, all the hard work that goes into that from the admissions office, and I think marketing, and we have another group of people here to present on their degree, and I think that helps
Yes.
too, that word of mouth, people talk about it. I didn't know they had that, introducing the new programs and things like that. So yeah, just a really good momentum going right now, and the hard work is coming to fruition, which is rewarding for, I'm sure, all of your staff members to see.
I think it's
too, so.
campus-wide.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yep.
you have the numbers on your waiting list, particularly with the health industry?
Yep, I did jot that down. I thought you might ask for some of that. So programs that we would consider full that still had a waiting list this year, welding, we have 8 on our waiting list. Electrician, we have 12. HVAC, we have 9. Vet tech, we have 2. LPN full-time cohort, we had 1 still on the waiting list. And phlebotomy, we had 2 on the waiting list. Other programs that we would say are full are cardiac sonography. We didn't end up with anyone on the waiting list, but we would consider that a full cohort. DMS, LPN part-time, medical assisting, the full-time cohort, those were all full. And then we had many other, like auto, media, IT networking programs, construction management, and engineering. All of those programs we saw really high interest this year.
And on that waiting list, those students would have qualified to enter the program.
Yes. Yep, they were accepted. We just didn't have a spot for them. So we work with them. Some of them might come in and take, they might come in as a part-time student and take some gen eds if they can. Otherwise, they are ready to go for the next start.
I'm just curious, what's your acceptance rate?
It depends on how you look at that when you say our acceptance rate. I mean, we are open enrollment, test optional in many of our programs, so our acceptance rate of individuals is really high. I would have to break that down by program to give you a more accurate counting of nursing versus maybe another program. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I can see where there's different.
Right, we're like a 4-year institution, you're accepting to the entire college, you're accepted, and then sometimes you have to apply to get into the program you want to get into. Our students are applying directly to get into that program right away.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Good news, thank you. Okay, next up, our, actually need to vote. So can I get a motion and a second to approve the STC Fall 2022 Enrollment Report?
So
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye, opposed, same sign. That motion passes. We're on to the academic program update for Information Technology Division and Media Communications Division.
Good afternoon, President Cermbitz and members of the board. My name is Phoenicia Homan. I serve as the Associate Vice President for Institutional Effectiveness. One of the joys of my job is getting to work with about a third of our academic programs, and we have some of those here this afternoon to share with you. So I'd like to introduce you to Todd Woolwin, Ken Schaefer, Roger Morris, Andy Honey, Rick Workentine, and Tony Conrad, and they're going to share about their programs individually as we go. Perhaps I need to punt a bit longer. So.
My name is Roger Morris, and this is Andy Honey, and we're to present on the computer programming degree.
Yep, so our computer programming highlights. We have 16 core programming classes and 5 general education classes to get the typical computer programming associate's degree.
So when you look at our objectives overall for our program, you can read these. We have it broken out between the technology, problem solving, communication, and professionalism aspects.
This is a sample of some work that we would do in the class. So this is in the second year fall semester project that would be a portfolio website and would serve to allow students to kind of show off their work and build out a web page that they can show, I can build out a web page plus, I can show off other work within my web page. And that's sort of a project that would be a very big resume highlight.
So we both work with some with desktop applications, but most of it's in web applications. Any questions for us?
No? Thank you very much.
Oh, Mark does.
Sorry.
So the credits, we talked about passing the credits on or transferring them to the colleges.
An articulation agreement?
Yeah, articulation degree. Good job. So are these credits that can be transferred into those programs?
It's always up to the accepting college to grant the classes or not for transferability. I don't know where we stand as far as our program as a whole or anything. I know that it's the college, Western Governors probably take a lot of them. There's a couple of them that will work. Bellevue works a lot with our students.
What languages do you guys teach your programming in?
We deal mainly with the web languages like HTML and stuff like that, and PHP, but we also deal with Java and C# and database skills.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Todd Wolin and Schaefer, and we're going to talk to you about the networking track. Again, there's 3 people in our department, and Merrill Pepper couldn't be here. He's actually substituting for one of our adjunct instructors. Between the 3 of us, we've got a fair amount of teaching experience and IT experience and credentials.
As you can see, our programs there, we have for our 3 different programs: system administrator, network administrator, IT security. Our placement, as you can see, is just fantastic, well over 80%. Our retention, some of the latest numbers, we're kind of coming out of a couple of COVID years, so that's kind of gone below our expectations, but we are seeing a lot of improvement with that.
And I think a lot with the retention, we do get some students in our field that are not really designed for our field, and we try to guide them to another degree path, so we lose a few students that way.
So some of our objectives, again, we are a technology program, we go off of that a lot, but problem solving, communication, professionalism, we do a lot of technical documentation, really hit on those soft skills with our students.
I think the core of what we do is like 80% hands-on or more and 20% instruction and direction. And the students really like that. Again, a lot of research and trying to drive those critical thinking skills and making them a better person after 2 years for their IT degree.
Just kind of a couple pictures of our labs. Our students very much hands-on from day one, collaborate with each other.
A lot of teamwork of 2 students or potentially even up to, we've had 12 students in a team working on a common project, which helps a lot. Any questions?
Do most of your graduates stay local? Do you know?
I would say the core of them do. We've got some great businesses like our healthcare in town, Aeros Data Center, a lot of IT companies. So, yeah.
Keep that talent local.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you.
Good afternoon, President Serbitz and members of the board. I'm Rick Workentine and colleague Tony Conrad, 2 of the media design instructors. We're also representing our digital media program. Our full-time faculty is actually teaching class later today. So the media program actually includes 2 different programs. We have media design, which is anything from print-based, environmental signage, web design, user interface design. And then we have digital media production, which is mostly what you see on video screens, so animation, motion graphics, 3D modeling, and such. We have a 2-year associate degree in both programs. And something new we've integrated in the last couple of years is a Common Core curriculum. So students coming in the first year take Common Core courses, and then the second year is where they can determine if they want to do one program or the other. And some of the students will decide to do both programs. So usually it's completing media design first, and then they have that option to go on for a 3rd year and do DMP. So current enrollment, we have about a little under 70 students combined between the two programs. So for full-time faculty, as I mentioned, myself, this is just beginning my 24th year. Tony is 14 years in, and then we just hired Patrick Friends as our full-time faculty in the digital media production. So we've kind of been getting by on some adjunct faculty the last couple of years, so we're happy that we were finally able to get a full-timer in place. So most of the students are small communities around Sioux Falls, usually within a couple hours. We have a lot of students who are creative people, and some of them don't care to be employed. They just want to expand their creativity and maybe go back to the family business and do some of this marketing and design work. Some of them are also returning to school and learning a new trade, so we do have a few non-traditionals in the program as well. We do have a full studio, which we're very happy to have. It used to be my old classroom, actually, but when we converted from film photography to digital, we were able to turn that classroom into a studio space. So that is utilized by both programs, both photography and video. So in the programs, they receive a solid foundation in problem solving, technology. Communication is a big part of what we do, both visually and through writing and body language and whatnot. And professionalism, which I think is the hardest thing to instill in our students. We can model it, but that work ethic and drive has to come from within. So just building skills in technology and utilizing a lot of hardware and software and a lot of different equipment that we use that they wouldn't expect. They think they're going to come in and create art, but there's a lot of technology involved as well.
Just want to add, tying into that professionalism piece, we do have a capstone project where we do a portfolio show to actually invite industry to our campus, which makes it a lot easier to hire instead of trying to take their time for individual interviews. And so we certainly prep them for carrying themselves accordingly and being able to communicate accordingly with people actually looking to hire. And that slide will probably show this as we come up, but last year I believe we had 100% job placement with the students. Spoiler alert, I guess that's kind of
So one downside to the program, there is no national accreditation or anything. There are some software certifications which are not required as part of the program. But like I said, there is no industry standard or testing to prepare them for. So it's basically strong communication skills, good planning and organization, time management. We serve clients who have tight deadlines, and a lot of times the students want to make it art and they want to make it personal, and got to keep reinstilling that this is for a client and we have to follow their objectives. Working with teams, collaboration is very important as well. So a little bit of crossover with marketing and journalism. So sometimes students will take those electives as well, take a marketing class or business class, entrepreneurship and such. As far as enrollment and placement, we're very happy to boast that we had 100% placement in this last graduating class in media design. And DMP program is getting up there as well, and I think having that full-time faculty is only going to improve things. Some of the careers and options for media design that they get into, graphic designer, of course, production artists and printing, web design, which is the area I teach. So we get into some coding, not as much as what CIS does. We do HTML, CSS, a little bit of PHP, WordPress, more front-end design. Photography, graphic design, which is Tony's area, and then video production and video editing.
Yeah, we try to take them through all the software that would be kind of expected of them in the industry and then give them real-world projects. like in second year, we build a magazine from cover, including all the advertising and everything that goes in it. So they're really getting our understanding of the big picture instead of small assignments.
And then DMP placement, motion graphics editing, of course, and 2D and 3D animation. Mostly what's around here as far as job availability is going to be video and capturing and editing video. We have had students go on to larger studio like Pixar type of studios. One that's worked in the professional sports market doing animation and motion graphics for stadiums. And, if they're willing to leave Sioux Falls, there's certainly a lot more opportunity there.
Side note, we have a pretty good relationship with Skyforce too. They usually they offer internships to all the post high school schools, but they typically like the ones we get from us. So just constant availability to take on interns for us.
So the objectives, as I mentioned before, we do include technology. It's more than just artwork. Problem solving is very important. We're given problems all the time and usually multiple things at once to solve. Communication in a lot of different ways, both visually, verbally, written, and as we talked about, professionalism is key to all of it. So online has been a big growth recently, websites, apps, and so forth. Adapting different screen sizes. And in the past, most of our grads went to print media or building basic websites, and we're seeing more and more growth. And in fact, one business had hired like 5 students from this last graduating class for web design. As Tony mentioned, we do a portfolio every spring, so that's the last Thursday in April. And we hold that in the Hub Auditorium, in the Hub Commons. So just a photo of this last event that was very well attended. So we invite you to check that out. An example of the current website, and you can go to graphics.southeastech.edu and you can see the last semester's graduates. Each one has a personal website that they have to build, and it has all their portfolio pieces. And something new we integrated during COVID year was a virtual artist gallery, because we left for spring break. They had started working on their portfolio show, and then they were told, sorry, we're not going to have it this year. So we scrambled and came up with a way of holding it virtually. And each student designed and built their own gallery space and then hung up all their work. And we had such great feedback on it, because people that said, well, I wouldn't have been able to attend the show anyway. Well, now I'm glad I got to see it. And people outside of Sioux Falls are able to do it. So we've continued doing that, and you can find those on the student websites. I'll let you talk about this.
Yeah, I mentioned this already, I guess, briefly. We do that magazine capsule that implements media writing, and it implements the photography. It just puts it all together into a nice package that, if that was the only thing they took to their interview, that could sell them.
Video production, kind of hard to show in some still slides, but again, you can view those portfolios from the website. But a couple examples here of some motion graphics and some video with some special effects.
We try to pick on real world clients when we can, not always the case, but we try to give them some of that real life exposure so they can see tight deadlines. Communication is extremely important. Otherwise, you're revisiting with the client and taking up their time. They also do 3D modeling as well in the DMP program. We did have a student back in 2019, James Height. We entered a contest. Again, I want them to get into these contests where they're competing not just locally but nationally. And HLC is our accreditation board that we currently have to use. And they have a conference each year, and he designed this for the year, I believe, before COVID hit. And he won, so all the campaign materials, we're using that. Certainly a great thing to put in his portfolio, and to kind of let us use him as a nice representation of us.
Literal poster child.
Yeah, he's our ambassador.
Got a nice cash prize out of it too. So that concludes our presentation about the media programs. Do you have any questions for us?
I can totally see the how this is applicable in so many different ways. Kind of like your slide said, you know, most things have moved from being still picture to really being that interactive on your phone or whatever. I would, just an idea for you guys. My kids go to Lincoln and there's a student there that does amazing things with videos, and he makes hype videos for the different sports teams. And there's lots of high school club teams or clubs that don't have that. And if that's something that your students would be interested in, I'm sure that there would be teams that would take you up on that. And so like my daughters play volleyball. So before the game, they have a 30-second video where it features all of the girls, and they go, you know, they make a video in the gym or, you know, whatever, but it's pretty cool and it gets them like really excited for whatever their competition is. But that made me think of some of the videos that you guys have done on how they could really be creative with lighting and with animation and with, you know, all sorts of things. So if you're looking for any other jobs, I'm sure if you reached out to any of the athletic directors, they could put you in touch with people who would be happy to use your services.
Thank you. We'll
So-
mention that to Patrick. That sounds like it would fit into his area.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, very interesting information. I'm going to check out your
You know, and a side note
portfolios.
too, we do try to get into the high schools as often as we
Mhm.
can. I know at the end of the year, our school year ends before high schools, and I'll visit like Roosevelt, which is right by or
Jefferson.
Brothers High School or whatever. I'll go visit it and do their portfolio reviews for them and give them feedback as well.
Yeah.
Just to kind of support them if that's their interest.
Yeah, great partnerships there that could be available.
Mm-hmm. Very cool. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Any other questions or comments? All right, seeing none, can we get a motion to approve the academic program update?
So moved.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign, and that motion passes. We're on to the academic support training and development report.
President Sarenbetz and members of the board. My name is Jackie Palmer, and I'm the department chair for faculty development and academic support. And so my report today is 3 separate areas that promote academic excellence. And after we complete each area, if you have any questions on that one before we go to the next, I would be happy to answer those. So the first one that I want to report on is a summer event called Jumpstart for our student onboarding and orientation. And we held this during the week of August 15th through the 19th, which was the week before classes began. And we sandwiched Jumpstart Orientation in between our academic advisement and registration events, which we call AAR. And those are held from early April till August. And those register students, and they have a chance to meet their advisor, but not necessarily all of the classmates that they're going to have in their program. Jumpstart Orientation then is the next event, and then we have the Welcome Week and classes, which started on August 22nd. So our Jumpstart prepares students for the first day and actually began out of a need for more time with students when we switched from a 17.5 to a 16-week semester. So the Jumpstart activities had been done during the first week, during that 17.5-week semester, but when we switched, we needed to bring them in a little bit earlier so that we could do those preparation activities. So our Jumpstart goals were to cultivate a sense of belonging for students, also give them a program orientation and set some expectations within their program areas, prepare their technology, and allow them to connect with other faculty and students, as well as take care of other school business. And this year's Jumpstart had an attendance rate of 90%, so 9 out of 10 students come. And we had a total of 1,186 students. So just a couple of my favorite quotes about a sense of belonging, and I'm sure you'd share this if you have a new college student this year or somebody who's entering that first year of high school, is that sense of belonging is a key predictor to academic success. So keeping that in mind, that quote about students who feel connected to community, place, and purpose will be able to excel academically, as well as that simple sense of belonging will, cause them to want to stay. So those are a couple things that kind of guide us in our planning for Jumpstart. So something that was new this year was our community and industry involvement. So we have 3 ways in which we tried to bring those folks in. We had employer panels for the professional studies programs that were in the insurance area, as well as our trades and industrial employers from HVAC and diesel. So these folks were able to come and speak to the students about workplace success and kind of set that stage and help them see that end goal in 2 years when they walk across the stage and graduate. So we appreciate their willingness to come in and share their experience with the students. And then we had a great welcome bag with BOGO, business coupons, and other offers from different gyms in the city, eating establishments, recreation, and then a really great Southeast Tech calendar of events. So we appreciate the enrollment management group that helped put together those welcome bags and solicit those things from the community as a welcome for those new students. And also just to let those people that are coming from small towns know what there is to do in Sioux Falls besides be at Southeast. And then finally, the business and industry picnic lunch was sponsored by business and industry, so we were able to offer our students a little bit more of a picnic community environment than we had in the past, thanks to the folks that helped sponsor that for us. And this is just a picture of some of the health students enjoying the picnic lunch. Even though it was kind of rainy a couple of the days, students were able to get to know each other and build community. This is a picture of one of the panel discussions. This is the Trades and Industry Day, representatives from diesel and HVAC. And we had students, again, from those programs come and listen to the questions that were posed by the moderators to the panel. And again, we tried to make a lot of those be about what it's like being in the workplace and what are the characteristics of people that excel in the workplace. And then the students had an opportunity to ask questions afterward. Some even came up and spoke directly to some of the people one-on-one. So a lot of them showed initiative in wanting to do their best and graduate from Southeast. And then we did a student survey at the end of Jumpstart. We had a 33% response rate. 3 of the key questions that will help guide us in planning the next event are going to be, first of all, did they feel that there was value and that it helped them prepare? And so we had a 56.5% met expectations, or they felt it did, and 41.5% felt it exceeded. So that's a 98% in that met or exceeded range, so we're really happy about that. Not that there can't be improvements, there can, but we feel like we're on the right track. And then the second question we wanted to find out about was if this date fit their schedule, because we are calling back, or calling students ahead of the first day of class. So each of those 5 days during Jumpstart Week, there's a different building and programs coming, so some are coming a week ahead of time. So again, pleased to report the 93.6% felt that that time range was appropriate and okay. 4.7 said it was not convenient, and then only 1.7 felt Jumpstart wasn't needed at all. And then finally, for technology readiness, 73% felt the assistance they received and their technology was ready to go. And keep in mind, these students bring their own laptops. So lots of things can go wrong or be in the way of installation. So we like to get that taken care of before the first day of class. 25% felt it exceeded and 2% said it did not meet. So again, 98% in that good range. And that concludes the Jumpstart portion. If you have any questions on Jumpstart, I'd be happy to answer.
I don't have any questions, but it's like any school, from kindergarten through, people want to know people. And if you can bring those kids together with your staff, it's a great idea. It's got to really help with retention, I'm guessing.
Yeah, having had I have a college freshman, and we had something similar, and I never got that when I went to school. And I think as a parent, it was very helpful to participate. We had some parent activities that were together with our students, and then we had some that were students by themselves and parents by themselves, but I felt like the information that each of us got was very pertinent. So and it seemed like a lot of the same types of things that you guys were presenting. And so I know as a parent, I walked away feeling a lot more confident. And my student, having now started, also had the same feeling like, okay, I know where things are at. I know where to go if I have this problem. I see faces I've seen before. So again, I think the belonging piece of it, and seeing themselves on campus and
Right.
that realization of this is where I'm going to be is very powerful. So it's a great idea.
And if they can meet a couple of friends, that helps them that first day of class. They might be in the same classes, and a familiar face is always
Who
welcoming.
am I going to eat lunch with, or who am I
Right.
going to walk to my next class with? So yeah, all of those things make a really big difference to that key age group. I mean, you're going to have the non-traditional students that probably don't find it as valuable, but I think that 18 to 23, 24, I think it would be a very powerful experience for them and really help them to be engaged and feel like they belong there.
I have a quick question on the student bags that you gave out. You had membership, gym membership. Was that information, or were some of those memberships at a reduced rate? We had just worked on some things that.
Yeah, I think it was a little of each, reduced rate, I believe. I think there were at least a couple gyms in there. And I thought that one was a reduced rate, and one other might have just been informational, just so that they knew where it was.
Any other information given to them, like on the State Theater, what's going on, or is maybe some of that's on the website, or was that maybe part of the calendar?
So it was a Southeast Tech calendar of events, so it was more the events for the year. I don't know that that was a community calendar in there, but that's something we can certainly look at for the future. There could be maybe some websites of community events that they could go to, but I don't know that it was a complete listing. But there's always room for improvement.
It was just some things that came out of strategic planning, so I was curious how that came out.
Hard in a city of our size to consolidate everything that's going on in one place. You kind of have to know, like
their interests
downtown
are.
or,
If they get plugged in on
Yeah.
the look at calendar.
Yeah,
that's-
exactly.
But the students were really happy with those little bags because they had Chick-fil-A gift cards and things of that nature. And I mean, that's their favorite, Starbucks and Chick-fil-A.
It just brings the students in.
Yeah, right. Anything to get them.
Right, Chick-fil-A on campus.
Thank you.
So this next area for academic excellence is HighFlex teaching and learning. HighFlex is a modality that stands for hybrid flexible, and it gives options for teaching and learning and being remote. And so we have new technology in many of our classrooms. At least 30 of our classrooms have this new technology, and we can now run HighFlex courses in them once they're all complete. So HighFlex courses are courses that have class sessions that allow students to choose whether to attend face-to-face or online. And if they choose online, it can be synchronously or asynchronously. And that's from the San Francisco State University Senate. So basically, your HighFlex course has multimodal pathways within one class. So there'll always be a traditional course path with students coming into the classroom face-to-face. But in your online, it can be either synchronous and or asynchronous. So if it's chosen to do both online paths, then there would be 3 total pathways. If the instructor and supervisors decide that they just want the synchronous path, then that would accompany the traditional with just 2 pathways. So, why would a college, university, school choose HighFlex? So basically to reach more students and have flexible participation options. So hopefully the results would be increased accessibility, increased satisfaction, and retention and enrollment, which all schools want to increase. So it seems like a win-win for everybody if it is done with quality. So some of the things that an institution might find an improvement in, besides the enrollment and retention, would be reduced time to completion, for students, being able to get that mode whenever, if they can get a couple of varieties of modes within one class, it might fit their schedule better with work, and they might be able to reach that end goal. Scheduling and budget efficiencies, and I'll use the medical coding program as an example. They have a traditional student path, and they have an online hybrid student path. And they might get maybe 15 traditional, maybe 10 online, but as time goes on, students start picking other modalities that are offered, and sometimes the numbers get kind of out of whack. Now I've got 3 who want face-to-face, and I got 20 who want online. Well, now you're teaching 2 classes for 23 people, split between 20 and 3. If those are offered into the same course, that pathway, it's 1 teacher with 2 modalities. So in a few of the programs, that can be a real benefit if they're put together. Of course, that means the teacher has to juggle and manage and be trained to do so. And it can be done with quality, and again, a win-win for everyone. And then the last option is the pivoting between pathways when conditions warrant. So whether it's a pandemic, health concerns, natural disasters, fires, whatever, you have a course that can go either way and pivot quickly. So the flexibility is there, and that demand is there since the pandemic. That just increased the trajectory. Students know that this was sort of going on during the pandemic, and hey, I kind of like that. I'd like to continue that flexibility. So we need to look at that and see whether, that is going to increase our numbers and satisfaction. Again, with high quality, that can be done. And then we can, again, flip seamlessly between modes. So a challenge is, I think, getting students to understand when a class is offered in that modality or not. So if it's a synchronous modality, then students will engage in learning at the same time, but they would be coming in remotely through Teams or Zoom. If it's asynchronous, then the students are viewing the content at a time that works in their schedule that week, but still meeting the same due dates and deadlines as students who are in the other modes. And then, of course, in-person is the traditional mode. So at Southeast, we've had the 2 modes on the left, the online and the hybrid. The online that we have had up to the time Flex was introduced was asynchronous. So the students meet the deadlines with teachers or pre-recording lectures and putting content out there for them. The hybrid we've also had as a way to kind of flip the classroom. So if a class would normally meet 3 hours a week, it might meet 2 hours in a hybrid format, and 1 hour is pushed outside of the class in preparing by maybe looking at the lecture and then coming to class ready to discuss, ready to interact with other students. And then the 2 modes that we're looking at here as the high flex with the 2 modes and 3 modes are those that we're still trying to figure out how to communicate, what is being planned for the course in that mode. And this, what does Flex 2 look like? This is a picture from an English 100 class in Flex. And with our new technology, the content screen is the one over the whiteboard with the camera above it. So the teacher can share that content screen for the remote student who's in the upper right. The students in the classroom are seeing it on the TV in great resolution. The technology is great in these rooms. So this is a face-to-face with synchronous online modality. And that student can choose the next week to come face-to-face, and other weeks he might choose to be remote synchronous. So as I mentioned, with support, faculty are willing to undertake some of these challenges. And we do have a 20-hour workshop we've been offering this past school year to teach teachers about not just the technology, but also how to design your course, develop your course, and then deliver it with the technology. So thanks to the higher education relief funds, we've got some help in providing some stipends for people who decide to go that extra mile. So those are, again, our units. We'll teach them how to design their course platform, develop it with more electronic online types of applications, and then deliver it in the technology room. So our online education council has been instrumental in helping develop those guidelines and give input into the content of that course. And it is, the council is made up of teachers who've been teaching online quite a while at Southeast, and myself. And so the juggling act is really what the teacher will do in this environment. They will juggle the Gensbar LMS, the Panopto lecture capture system, the Teams web conferencing, and the active learning classroom all in one. And there are many pedagogy considerations. So it isn't for everybody, but we start with the workshop, introduce them to it, and then their first semester of actually teaching with this, they'll get continued support from me. And I'll take any questions on the HighFlex.
So do you have a high volume of volunteers or your staff too?
We had 9 in the first workshop and 16 in the one this summer.
It looks like an increased workload to me.
Yeah.
But no,
I would guess the first time through,
Yeah,
it probably is, but
once you
then
get
I
set up.
think just like anything, you find efficiencies and you find
Yes.
ways to make things better, or if you have something already recorded, you can reuse that information versus feeling like every single time you do something, you have to do it from scratch. So,
Right.
yeah, I think I like it. I think it's very adaptable and can really attract a variety of audiences for whether it's you are at home with a sick kid or you have a daycare issue or it's a snowstorm, like, you know, the things you mentioned. It really allows people to still feel like I'm still on track and I still am going to finish my degree and I'm still, you know, moving forward versus, you know, my kid has COVID and now I've missed a whole week and now I'm feeling really bad about how I'm doing and is this a waste of my money? You know, like that whole cycle where nope, I'm in. I'm still, I have the support that I need and I can still get my content. So I think it's great.
Okay. Thank you. So our next and last area with academic excellence is just to describe our new faculty onboarding program. We have both full-time and adjunct instructors. So a busy time of year for us in this area is July and August as we get those people on board. We train our adjuncts in the evenings and our full-timers in the daytime in July. So very few faculty begin at Southeast Tech with education majors, which is going to train you in the methodology. And so I had the benefit of having an education major. I did all my methods of teaching in college. Some will get bachelor's degrees and then tack on the master's of ed, but your education majors are typically going to exist in your general ed, business, computer, early childhood, and nursing ed. So that's just a small portion of the programs we have on campus. So faculty development training is really important because those people are hired because they are good communicators and they know their craft well, but they're really taking on a new profession and adding it to their repertoire. So nearly 75% of the employees at Southeast Tech are either adjunct or full-time instructors. This is a picture of the 12 instructors that did their training full-time in July. And out of this group, 4 led a classroom prior to coming to Southeast. Others came through the adjunct funnel and did clinical instruction in the hospitals and so forth. But 4 is, you know, out of 12, that's just a third of the people that had actually been leading a classroom. So our adjuncts, we'll start with them first. They do a semester of preparation and then they receive a 3-year credential that we offer them. So the state no longer does a credentialing process for us. We do it internally. And we train about 12 to 24 adjuncts a semester. And that is delivered HighFlex because they do not all live in Sioux Falls. So we can have instructors from California, Georgia, East Coast. And so just having it asynchronous online doesn't always work when you want to model teaching and learning. So we do deliver at HighFlex, and it's about 20 hours long. Our full-time take a little bit longer. We do a 2-year preparation with them for a 5-year credential. And so during the 2 years of training, they prepare and then receive the 5-year after. And this is 4 credits of methodology and 2 years of mentorship. And so we got 2 credits starting out before their first year, another 2 credits between their first and second year, and the 2 years of mentorship. And our courses in methodology, the first course on the left and the second on the right. The first one is more exploring the roles and developing the vision, and the right-hand side is a little bit more enhancing it because now you've had a chance to try it, what worked, what are some strategies to make it better. And so the teaching, learning, technology, relationship building, curriculum development, design, those are all represented in those methodology courses. And then in our mentorship, we pair a new faculty member with a veteran, and they meet weekly in person or through Teams web conferencing. They'll still be informal mentors within their department, but we like to give them somebody who's been assigned, given workload to mentor them so they don't feel like they're always asking questions of the people in their office space. And then in year 2, the associate deans mentor the people in their department. We do have ongoing professional development from a professional development committee for all faculty. And my vision for the future is that we can consolidate all of our professional development, training, onboarding into a center for teaching and learning, which many universities now have. And that would allow us to have all the support, training, and development under one area and be able to meet the teachers where they're at. If they need support through web conferencing because they live in Georgia, we can do that. If they want to stop in person, we can do that, or they can send emails and get online help as well. Okay. Any questions I can answer on the faculty development?
I think obviously the development piece is super important because that's, to me, when I hear people talk about Southeast, they talk about the quality of the instructors and how real world experience they get because they are, so many of them are in industry or have a lot of industry experience. And so just because you are in industry doesn't make you a good teacher.
Right.
And so that bridging I think is super important. So I like to see, I didn't know, so it's very interesting to me to see kind of the process. It's not just hiring an industry person and saying, here's your class, teach them what you know. It's very much like, here's the way that you can be the most effective and help our students. And so I think that it's great, and it will continue that kind of legacy of great teaching that Southeast is known for.
Thank
I
you.
think anytime you can provide professional development, because that's essentially what this is, right? We're providing them professional development to expand their skills, and whenever an employer can do that, I think you help retention that way too. So give them the supports that they need to be successful. So it's very good to see. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Can I get a motion and a second to approve the academic support training and development report?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. All right, that passes. All right, next up, competency-based education approval report.
Well, good afternoon, President Zerovitz, members of the board. My name is Benjamin Valdez. I'm the Vice President for Academic Affairs at Southeast Tech. I come before you today requesting approval for Southeast Tech to transition and explore adding competency-based education as an educational format to our program. Competency-based education refers to specially designed courses that are based on mastery of concepts, where students go and they demonstrate achievement of those individual competencies, that knowledge and the skills before they move on to the next competency. Such courses, they typically have a flexible time frame for learning those competencies. This will allow a student to progress at a much faster pace if they have industry experience or are working in the field, versus a student who may be learning it for the first time. They can progress at a slower pace until they become proficient. Students will not progress to the next course until they demonstrate every competency and skill within that course, and then they will be able to progress with their education. Ultimately, competency-based education is focused on student learning and the application of that learning. In other words, students within a CBE program get to do and demonstrate what they know and what they can do, rather than focusing on time spent sitting in a class listening to a lecture. We have selected 4 programs to initially explore, offering those in a competency-based education format. The programs that we are looking at are our Associate of Applied Science in Electrician, our Diploma in HVAC, our Diploma in Computer Technician, and our Associate of Applied Science in Registered Nursing. So those 4 programs are the programs that we want to initially look at and offer in this format if everything comes about. It is going to be a little bit of a long process for us because it's more than just revamping the academic side. It's going to require a lot of forethought and a lot of research into how our financial aid systems will need to work, our learning management system, our student information system, how all of those components will come together to support a student, and how do we assess students as well on the academic side to ensure that they are mastering these concepts and moving forward at a pace that ensures that they are prepared to enter industry. So at this point, if there are any questions, I stand open and we ask for approval to move forward with this venture.
Any questions?
Well, just having sat in many of the strategic planning sessions, I know that was one of the goals. So it's just really rewarding to hear that people out there that you touch on to make a difference and influence the strategic plan, that you all are working to make some of those items possible. So it's encouraging that there was a good fit in 4 areas for competency-based education.
Thank you.
I was just looking quickly at where it says institutions may choose from 2 different diplomas or 2 different, basically, transcripts, I think. So do you?
I didn't realize the PowerPoint was uploaded.
Oh, it's just on our computers.
Okay.
Yeah. I was just curious, so if I was another institution and I wanted to get a transcript from somebody's work at Southeast Tech and they had done competency-based, I could say, just send me the classes that they've completed and a grade or a GPA, or there would be like some sort of goals or expectations, milestones that would be listed out that it would say that I've achieved. Is that what I'm reading?
Yes and no. So it depends on how we design it. So within the CBE world, there are 2 tracks that an institution can choose from. Some institutions, a good example would be Western Governors, Southern New Hampshire, actually utilize both tracks. The first track is direct assessment. So a student comes in and do a series of evaluation of things like transcripts, certifications, licensure, work history, being able to provide them credit for competencies within courses based upon what they've done. We will not be pursuing that track, at least not at this point. Maybe that is something we do down the road, but right now we're going to select the second option. The second option is course credit based. The basic reason we're going with that option at this point is because that is how the state of South Dakota funds higher education. So we have to stay in line with that to ensure we do that. Now, to kind of delve a little bit more into your answer there, Board Member Ryder, the part of what we'll need to do is evaluate how do we issue a transcript. And again, we can do it one of 2 ways or both ways. One way is a traditional transcript. Since we're staying with the course approach, credit approach, students, we can issue a credit or a transcript that shows all the courses they've completed and their grade within that course. The second and supplemental component is a transcript that also lists each competency. So within course X, it may have 7 competencies. It'll list those competencies and it can list the mastery of that competency within that. So the nice part is that becomes very more helpful industry right now. You hand them a transcript, oh, they have a degree, they move on. It's not really meaningful. What did they learn? The transcript that lists actual competencies can actually be used by industry. Oh, I'm hiring you as an electrician. You know how to do these things.
Right.
I can hire you at a higher wage. I can put you on a different track. So it really provides some flexibility and opportunity for students.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
I like that it gives people credit for the knowledge and experience that they already have that sometimes you just don't have a way to prove. So,
exactly.
Okay, well, with that, can I get a motion and a second to approve the competency-based education approval report?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That motion passes.
Thank you.
Anything else? Okay. All right. Can I get a motion and a second for adjournment, please?
So moved.
Second.
All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, we are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.